Hey guys, it's Libby, and I was recently tagged by Maya from Maya Reads to do the Booktube Watching Tag. I will leave a link to Maya's channel down below if you want to check her out, and I will actually, definitely, I promise, have the link so that Maya does not get irritated, because as she explained in her video, that is what bothers her. Question number one is, how many channels are you subscribed to? I'm subscribed to about 75 total YouTube channels, but only about a dozen of them are booktube channels, and it's hard to give a precise number because I think I'm technically subscribed to 15 booktube channels, but several of those are questionably still active, so about a dozen, which is actually a lot less than I thought. If you had asked me before I counted, I would have said a generous third of my subscriptions are to booktube channels, a generous third are to education channels like Vsauce and Crash Course, and then a scant third are a mixture of other things, such as like podcasts. I prefer to listen to podcasts on YouTube rather than I don't know, anywhere else people listen to podcasts. I think the booktube channels that I am subscribed to do post more regularly than the other types of channels that I'm subscribed to, so I would believe that about a third of the total YouTube content that I'm watching is booktube content. But I was surprised that the actual number of channels was so low. I guess that's because I have unusual tastes in literature, which is not very well represented on Booktube, because it is not very well represented in society. Question two is, when do you normally watch Booktube? Now, this is an interesting question because, if you don't know, about a year ago I moved from the suburbs of Washington, D.C. to smack dab in the middle of Amsterdam. And there were two surprising, I guess you can call them culture shock things that I was not expecting. One was that I did not know how to use any of the appliances. I still am not totally sure how to use my microwave. So not being able to use the appliances was one surprise. The other surprise was that I was used to having a lot of content being posted before I got up. So when I got up in the morning, a lot of the European YouTubers and podcasters that I follow had already posted their stuff, and I just had a glut of stuff to listen to in the morning. But now it's more of a trickle throughout the day, and I do wake up fairly early. I'm quite sensitive to sunlight, so as soon as the sun rises, I get up. Even given the getting up early, it takes a couple of hours for me to become properly functional. So for the first 90 minutes to 2 hours after I get up, I can feel that my brain is moving slower, and so it's probably not a good idea for me to be making work decisions. I also have a lot of difficulty with my hands in the morning. It feels like it takes longer for all of the tiny little muscles that are responsible for fine motor skills to wake up and start functioning. And my job is clicking stuff. I edit audiobooks. So I just need to have really good mouse control, which I don't have first thing in the morning. So I get up early and then I can't start my job, so I watch Booktube. So what I had been doing when I was living in the US was I would basically watch or listen to anything as soon as it was available to me. First thing in the morning, I would have all of my European content that I would consume, and then throughout the day, other videos and podcasts would trickle through. And for a meaningful portion of the work that I do, I can be listening to something while I am doing it. So I would just do that. But now I found that I have to have some delayed gratification if I want to have enough stuff to listen to or watch in the morning so that I don't get bored. So instead of watching a new video in the afternoon or evening as soon as it comes out, I will sometimes be nah, I need to save this for tomorrow morning. There are, of course, still usually several videos that I need to watch right now. Thank you very much. Was that enough information? Okay, question three is, how do you balance booktube watching, reading, and making your own videos? Unconsciously. This is not something that I plan specifically. It's kind of depends on what I'm interested in doing at the time. What sorts of things am I having a slump in? I have more interests than I have time to pursue perpetually. And you might think that my interest in watching booktube videos, making booktube videos, and reading, thus providing the content on which I base my booktube videos, would sort of my interest in those would wax and wane together, but they do not. I'm basically always up for watching a video. Making booktube videos is more dependent on, like, do I feel like I have anything to say? Sometimes I have like 12 ideas for videos and I just cannot get them out fast enough. And sometimes I feel like I have no ideas for videos, and then I post like a video every 2 weeks. And then reading, I go through like quite extreme levels of how into it I am at any given time. So it's not something that I intentionally balance, it's just something that happens, and I don't feel like this is something that needs to be balanced. Like, I'm not gonna be like, I need to spend this much time reading per week, even if I'm miserable while doing it. Like, I don't wanna be miserable, guys. I'm gonna do something else that makes me happy. Question 4 is there a difference between videos you like watching and videos you like making? Well, this depends on the word like. So I really like super nerd-tastic videos where people are gonna educate me about something. This is probably why I'm subscribed to way more education channels than booktube channels. And so I do try to make these kinds of videos. That's what I'm doing with the Bard Book Club. That's what I was doing with my video about whether Patroclus and Achilles were lovers or just friends. But those videos are really hard to make just in terms of like cognitive demand. So I enjoy like thinking about them, planning them out. I tend to hate filming them because I have to, and editing them because I have to repeat myself and be like, no, I didn't phrase that right. Or, for example, when I did the video about Shakespeare and verse, when I talked about trochaic tetrameter at the end, my brain totally took a walk, and the first time I recorded that, I was saying spondaic tetrameter the whole time. And so I just had to go back and refilm that section. But those are generally the videos that I am most proud of at the end, and that I think have the most staying power, because like I'm still getting comments on my Patroclus and Achilles video, whereas I'm not getting any more comments on my like June wrap-up from 2016. Question 5 is, who is the first booktuber you subscribe to, and do you still watch them? I'm pretty sure that the first booktuber I subscribed to was Ariel Bassett. She may not have technically been the first one for whom I clicked subscribe, but I definitely have a memory of watching a lot of her videos at the beginning. I started watching Booktube basically right after Booktubeathon in 2015. I am not still subscribed to her, but I will sometimes watch her videos when they like show up in my recommended feed. Question 6, who is the most recent booktuber you are subscribed to? I believe that this is Mille Page or 1000 Pages. She is a bilingual booktuber who her videos are in both French and English, and she has the subtitles for whichever language she isn't speaking going on underneath. She has only made 3 videos though, and I believe hasn't posted in like 4 months. So I'm not sure if she is going to stay with us, which is sad because I really liked her and I wanted to know more about the francophone publishing industry. Question 7 is, share an old favorite booktuber. Gotta pick Rachel from Kalinati. She knows so much about science fiction, and I've definitely picked things up solely because of her. I would not have read All Systems Red without her recommendation, and I just can't imagine my life without Murderbot. 8 is share a new favorite booktuber. For this, I'm gonna go with Eve's Alexandria. She has not posted in a while, but I'm following her on Twitter, and she just finished up her PhD, so fingers crossed she will now have more time and can start talking about videos again. She works as like an archivist or a librarian in the city of York. and just reads very interesting things. I'm going to pick up The Arrival of Missives on her recommendation. Number 9, what is one of your booktube pet peeves? Okay, this is not like about things that other people do. This is about the system man. Thumbnails. I really hate making thumbnails, you guys. I hate that I have to make a dumb but intriguing looking face every time I make a video. I hate that I have to spend valuable time like employing the art that is graphic design to make this tiny little thing. And I hate that like I don't technically have to do it. I could just let YouTube pick a thumbnail of me going like, but then no one would click on my video. And there are rumors that YouTube is going to go back to the golden days of like 2009. Maybe not 2009, maybe this is more like 2011, 12. I've been watching YouTube for a really long time, you guys. I'm departing from the Booktube Watching Tag for a second. I just need to be nostalgic about vintage YouTube. Okay, so YouTube I think started in 2005. I'm sorry, I promise I will not give you a history. I actually don't promise that. Okay, so YouTube started in like, I think 2005 with a video, me at the zoo. I did not really start watching YouTube until 2007. I was on board pretty early with the Vlogbrothers. I started watching them like 6 or 7 months into their project. And YouTube was like a wild and wonderful place. It was made up largely of very low budget but very enthusiastic sketch comedy, such as like Lisa Nova. I'm gonna leave links to all these vintage channels because you guys need to know. You need to know your history. So that kind of thing, and people arguing about religion. There was a lot of videos about that. Oh man, I remember the time Venom Fang X replied to The Amazing Atheist. He never replied to anybody. Of course, he took the video down later, but we know, we remember. And then of course there was the perfect combination of the sketch comedy and the arguments about religion, which was The Church of Blow, which just, I'm Reverend Cornelius Blow. Follow me. If this does not mean anything to you, you are living an unfulfilled life. But anyway, back in these days, in the very early days of YouTube, you could not choose your own thumbnail. It was just randomly selected for you. And then YouTube switched things up a bit, and they made it so that the exact middle frame of the video would be the thumbnail. And then people started getting really creative about this. I don't say exploiting. I don't think it's exploiting it. I think it's getting creative. They would have something not related to their video, just smack dab right in the middle. I can show you an HMC girl video where she did that. And then sometimes people would like do the math and figure out what the exact middle frame of that video is, and then they would like flash something right in the middle so that could be their thumbnail. And then YouTube tweaked things a little bit again, and they would let you choose any frame of your video to be your thumbnail. This was fucking great, but pretty demanding on the servers. So eventually YouTube started doing part of what they're doing now, which is they will offer you 3 frames of your video and you can pick which one. And then the fancy people, it started off with just people like Vlogbrothers and Sexy Phil. They were allowed to create custom thumbnails. You could make an image, you do whatever you want, and then you could upload that at the same time as you were uploading your video, which is the system we have now. And this, I don't like this. It makes YouTube more superficial and makes us work harder for like what doesn't really feel like gain, but just feels like not a loss. Okay, and then now, my children, there are rumors that YouTube is going to go back to the old model of just picking a frame. You've seen it when you hover your cursor over the videos in the sidebar on your main page, it will start to play a clip. They'll still show you the thumbnail, but then when you hover, they start to play a clip. And I think that they are going to start finding whatever clip you don't look dumb in, and they will make the first frame of that clip be your thumbnail. And then when you hover, it will just play 2 or 3 seconds of the video from there. This is the promised land. This is going to be so great. And I will not have to make thumbnails anymore, which is my pet peeve. Okay, let's finish up the tag. The next question, the last question, what have you learned from watching other booktubers? I told Maya I was going to have a hard time answering this question, and that is because I am terrible at introspection. So like in middle school, you guys didn't think this is gonna be a history video. You were wrong. In middle school, we would like have these projects that we'd have to do based on like, I don't know, Fahrenheit 451 or whatever we were learning about in history class. So you do the project and I'm like, I get it, it's school. I don't like it, but I'll do it. And then afterwards, they would give you a like reflection sheet, and it was like, how do you think you managed your time on this project? What do you think you did well? What do you think you could do better? And I was like, this is torture. This is the worst thing that has ever happened to me. I can't answer these questions. I'm supposed to think about myself? What? And this was my reaction, but this was not really the reaction of everyone else around me. They're like, hey, this is like way easier than, I don't know, doing more math problems. And it was like, I don't get it. So I think this is just a me thing. Like most of the time, I don't know how I feel about things. I don't know what I'm thinking. If I ever have an interesting expression on my face and you ask me, hey, Libby, what are you thinking? I will genuinely not know. I probably was thinking something, but I will not understand it. And this question 10 of the Booktube Watching Tag, what have you learned from other booktubers? It's taking me back to that hellhole that was middle school. I don't know what I've learned from other booktubers. Surely I have learned some things. Is my editing technique better? Probably. My editing technique is still pretty bad though, let's be honest. Have I learned how to be a better person? Like, probably. I have no idea how, though. Isn't it enough that I just have changed? Do I have to explain the change to you, Mrs. Katz? Question 11 is tag some people. And you know, the one person that I'm really most interested in their answers to these questions is not someone who makes videos. It is Tortoise Dreams, whose pronouns I've just realized that I don't know. I've always imagined you as a she, but if you're not, let me know. Tortoise Dreams is one of my favorite subscribers. He, she, they always leaves the most thoughtful comments on all of my videos, and I've seen on other people's videos that he, she, they also leaves really thoughtful comments on their videos. So Tortoise Dreams is watching a lot of BookTube, and I really want to know your answers. Do you have some new favorite booktuber that I'm not aware of yet? Answer in my comment section, please. Also, I think you should make videos. I think they'd be really interesting. So, Tortoise Dreams, thou art tagged. Thank you to everyone who watched this video, which is a little bit different than the stuff that I normally do. I feel good. I'm gonna go film my Booktober TBR now, get back to some normal book-related content.